Welcome to the show today. Today I have Vincent Barro on the show, and he's the Vice President of IT Switzerland, IT Business Switzerland, and also end users in DACH for Schneider Electric. And I'm very, very excited to talk to you today, to dive a little bit into your story, hear more about what's going on, and a bit of the lessons that you learned along the way of your journey. So, Vincent, thank you so much for being in the show. Let's dive right in. Can you maybe share one or two moments that you felt really shaped you as a human being and as a leader along the way?
Mhm. Well, hi Daniel. So I think from my side, what I think the biggest moment for me in my career and as a leader is when I was in the south of France. One day I realized that in fact, if I was staying where I was, I would probably be the same guy in 20 years. Okay, a nice house, a family, but I was not very happy about that. So one day I decided, okay, I take the risk. I bring my family abroad and I go somewhere else. And that's how I finish in Ireland and now in Switzerland and Germany. So really, that's a key moment and a key choice that I did.
Very interesting, basically making a very big, I think, impactful decision and just committing to that and moving with that is a big one. So who are some of the people along the way of your journey that you think really shaped you?
Well, different people, different moment. First of all, I when I grew up, I grew up in a military camp. Okay, so in fact, my dad was in the army, so I received this military style education, and at the same time, my mother was a teacher. So I was very lucky because one side I have this military style, straightforward, maybe too much sometimes, and on the other side, the psychological side. Okay, and what was very very good is during this time in the military camp, I have some kind of 50 friends with me, 50 young people, which are still my friends now, and will help me who I am now. And even sometimes when I talk business, globalization, stuff like that, I've got this guy in the south of France who are not in this type of business who told me, say, calm down. That's not the life of everybody. Let's go back to basic. And that's something which is really important for me. And at the same time, I've got another crew of people, which are my friends from business school, with who I text every day, I must say, which are my crew of Parisian, as I said. So very ambitious guy, plenty of idea, different profile, and really they help me to give me some new idea, fresh stuff to build me up. And this positive, challenging relationship is really great to become who you are.
I love that, also about the peer group. I think that's essentially, and of course, now also with technology, it's easier than ever before to have that constant exchange and be around that peer group, even if you can't be around them every day physically, but also be around them in the
Just a
virtual.
WhatsApp group, very easy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, very cool. So I'm also very curious about sort of like your motivations. I mean, so you're in charge of a fairly large organization at a at a very established company, and you're very entrepreneurial driven. We talked about last time about the engineering and the sales sort of like coming closer together. I mean, what really interests me is what is it that gets you up every morning, to be excited and go to work?
Yeah, well, I think there's some kind of excitement about sales and about numbers, and again, as I did in my personal life, I really hate the status quo, and I hate when there's a problem when people say it's like that. So I know if really you dig into problems and if you see in details, there's always a solution. So okay, it's not always comfortable, but something is coming, and at the end of the day, it's positivity, it's business, and that make me really exciting. There's nothing better than a huge deal that you are sure that you're gonna lose, and at the end you win it. And when you win it with your team, it's really fun. It's comparable to when you play sport, when you have a huge goal. It's the same idea. And as a team, when we won something which was really, really uncertain, that's really a great moment. And this sharing with my guys, I mean, I talk with my sales guy every day, and with my team, and that's really something that I like. And together we find solution. I mean, we're a very good team, and that's great.
And I love, it's about the people, it's about the excitement, a bit of the uncertainty, around this profession that you're in as well, and about this field. I mean, what is it about, about the industry, the sector you're in? Did you just join that by, accident? Did you just fall into it? Was it a specific choice you made? And why is it something that, you eventually went into?
Yeah, well, that's funny because it's a type of joke that I have with my wife. She knows that I hate when she said I can be a geek in a way. But yeah, since I'm young, I like this type of stuff, this technological. And at the end, I've got the opportunity as a student after my business school to go to this industry with an integrator and to work internationally. And then I clearly see the opportunity within the data center space and within this business. And where I have been really lucky, I must say, is with the boom we see within the cloud, the IoT. I mean, I'm the first generation who had internet as a student. So I mean, all this stuff happened when I was there. So it all new, very exciting, and our industry is deeply linked with that. So as I told you before, everything is not in the cloud now and big stuff. There's always big engine behind, big megawatts power needed, and big hardware. And that's what we do every day in Schneider is really make the most of the energy, making efficient, make it works. And that's really cool.
Yeah, we talked about this last time. It's very engaging conversation about the whole data center, and basically looking at Facebook. Oh, it's a website. Well, it's a little bit more than that. It's it's very interesting. Also, this excitement about last time you mentioned this about this tangible thing. It's not just something up in the cloud, so to say. It's in the cloud, but it's not in the physical cloud, so to say. And it's something that's very tangible, and making that tangible thing work more efficiently and more effectively. It's very it's very exciting there. Let's talk a little bit about lessons, because I mean you had an interesting growth journey along the way, and I'm sure there's some interesting stories to tell along the way as well, either some epic failures or some interesting successes. If you had to point out one or two really important lessons that you learned along the way, what would they be?
Well, I think two lessons is the first big lesson for me has been family first. Okay, so at one moment when you are in your 30s, you are very eager to succeed. You work hard, and that's good because that's what people need to do. But at one moment, don't forget your family. And with the type of job that we are traveling a lot. We are tired. You are in the hotel, and sometimes you don't think enough that, hey, come back to your family more, take care of them because they are alone, and it could be painful. So if I have really one advice and what stuff that I learn is take care, because that's the most important. At the end, the other stuff are just business. And even if you are young, energetic, always at 100%, at one moment you're going to be tired. And that's what I said to my team. I mean, when you sleep two nights already in hotel in a week, it's already enough, And I know you can do more probably, but you're going to pay the price at one moment. So really take care of yourself, do sport. It's easy to say, but with the pressure that we all have, it's not so easy to do.
It reminds me of a story. I don't know who told me that, but the sort of like distinction, you're always juggling lots of different balls, right? And then there's two different groups of balls. One is there's rubber balls and there's glass balls. And, your family and your health, they're glass balls. And most things in business, they're rubber balls. If you drop a rubber ball, it bounces back, not as high as before, but, it sort of bounces back and you can pick it up. If you drop a glass balls do not drop. Do not bounce back. They shatter into 1,000 pieces, and sometimes it's impossible to repair them. Just reminds me of that story. So yeah. I mean, I think that's a very, very key lesson as well. As also for the a younger generation of talent, or for anybody in business, to just have that awareness, I think is absolutely key, because it's also easy to just get drawn into all the excitement and just drive and status and all these kinds of things in business. And just make that everything, right?
Mm-hmm. And as well, in terms of agenda management, I mean, I always say to my team, sorry, saying no, it's okay. Focus on the business, focus on incremental, what's going to bring more things to your business, what is important. But I mean, as a global company in Schneider, I can have a full year full of meetings, like every large company, but make the choice, say no when you need to, and focus on your business and your personal life, and you're going to be successful for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very interesting that you sort of like focus on that, striking the balance as well, because it's not just about focus on one thing there, but also understand that sometimes by saying no to something that may be urgent but not really that important, and just instead of doing that, doing something that is not related, maybe going for a walk, going for a run, going to the gym, spending time with the family, sometimes something just happens that resolves that problem anyway. Many problems, it's just a bit like in IT or in IT support, right? It's a bit like, well, if you just wait for a day and you don't respond, it's going to be solved anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So very powerful in terms of lessons there, especially the one with the balance or the family and the health. Now I want to quickly talk a little bit about leadership, because when you're in charge of such a large organization, it also comes with a lot of challenges and different people, different expectations, different stakeholders, sometimes politics, and all these kinds of things. Now, how do you balance or manage all of this and still be able to stay sane at the same time?
Well, that's a good question. I think in corporation like ours, you learn how to navigate, And I work for Schneider for 10 years now, and at the beginning, I want to be involved in everything, and I want to have control. And at the end of the day, the freedom and to take care of your team will create success anyhow at one moment. And something which is important is really as well to learn, and especially from a South of France style guy like me, is to learn how to shut my mouth. And you're gonna learn it at one moment, especially when you are really sales-oriented profile. You learn from executive how to handle that, how to handle this game, this political aspect, and you watch them and you learn. So it context sometimes, but at one moment when you are very strong executive, as we have in Schneider, you watch them and you're gonna learn what is the game about.
So I'm very curious about that, about you call it shutting your mouth. So if you're that sort of personality who just loves jumping into everything and just like always taking the first pitch and everything and everywhere, how do you learn to not always just jump in and say this is my opinion or whatever and just talk? And how do you learn that? Is it something that you do? Is it just awareness? Like, what is it?
Yeah, well, again, it's experience. And when you are a young manager, and again, it's about control and let things go, and you learn it. And again, I have the chance with different managers that I have. You give me orientation, some mentor as well within the company, and you learn it. It comes. Then, of course, if you are alone, if you don't listen, and if you don't want to change, you go nowhere. But if you are keen to do it, people will say it and appreciate it. Otherwise, you stay always at the same level, and I don't think that's good for anybody.
Absolutely, yeah. That's an interesting one, sort of like if you want to go up, it's more important to actually listen as well.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Now, I got one question that's a bit up in the clouds. So let's imagine you're a magician now, and you got a magic wand, the genie thing, and you could wish something. You had a wish. What is it that you would wish for that could multiply your impact that you have on the work that you do, on the organization, or on the world in general?
Well, on the world in general, it would be complicated to say anything. Well, on my day-to-day life, I think it's really we need to be able to manage the uncertainty aspect and to know more about this new world. About some company going up, some company going down, but how do you manage this uncertainty? How do you position yourself? And how do you manage to make choices despite this uncertainty? And that's something that would be great to have, but it's nobody can say it. So, but how? I mean, how do you make choice when things go so fast? It's really a question. So we make choice based on data, based on market, on studies, but I'm pretty sure that things will not go the way we think. I give you one example. When 5 years ago, we were all thinking in our industry that our business could be dead at one moment because you will have big data centers in India. I mean, anywhere in the world, and that would be enough. Not what we now what we see is a big development of the edge, which means small, medium data center everywhere to compensate this large data center. Nobody was expecting it, or maybe people going to say they were sure it will happen. Not me. And at the end, that's something new for our market and a new future. So that's why it's very exciting one side and very complicated is really to know where the market goes and to be there first.
Now this is an interesting one. I guess it comes back to balance. You know, one side of us human beings always wants to sort of like stay in control and be comfortable, understanding okay what all the parameters are and where the future is going and everything. But the other side would sort of also says, well, that would be such a boring life, you know, if we knew everything. And you know, so we create all these uncertainties, you know, and we're actually very happy that there's uncertainty in lots of things. You know, the unknown, entrepreneurship, innovation is all in this field over here, right? So it's sort of like, I guess once again, it's sort of like a balancing thing to strike, and I guess it comes back to leadership as well. You know, I mean,
I think the key for leadership in this case is to be able to pivot fast, you know, and an organization which gonna stay very simple and stable and don't want to move is gonna be dead at one moment. So I think, okay, maybe you are not wrong, you take wrong decisions, so pivot fast, fail fast, but be on track fast and try something. I mean, I always say to my team, don't say to me something don't work, try something, comes to me, and we'll find a solution, but try something.
yeah, I love that. You know, the failing fast is not right now something we do a lot in Switzerland. I guess it's something we can learn from many other countries as well. You know, it's sort of like you know, this. I think it's less about failing fast. I think it's more about learning fast as well.
Exactly.
Understanding like, you know, what's working, what's not working. So how do you work with that? I mean, in a very established organization as well, with, you know, a larger organization, how do you pursue that path of fail fast or learn fast? Like, how do you
Well,
bring?
I think we have to keep in mind that Schneider Electric is a very successful company because we've got some, I would say basic, but it's not basic, but that mandatory things we need to stay the same, which is we make decision based on data, business decision. I mean, we are quite organized and we are very professional in plenty of aspects. But parallelly, that's what we call the red way of working. Parallelly, you need to embrace this freedom way to work and to accept to say to employee, okay, innovation is about what you're going to drive, what you're going to do, and I'm going to support you in any initiative that you want to take. But there's a start initiative, there's an end. So don't come to me with an idea and don't lead it. I give you freedom, but lead something, do something. And if it's fail, it's fine. I mean, we all do mistake and try to transparency, avoiding to do failure, you go nowhere. And that's why we try to do within my team in Switzerland and as well in Germany is, okay, you've got an idea, test it. And we test it together and we create what we call this MVP, you know, this minimum valuable product. And we try something. It could be a business case, it could be a process, it could be operation, it could be anything. But we move and we follow things. I heard a lot in Switzerland, and Switzerland again, it's a very successful country about, yeah, that's what we used to do and we still do like that. That's fine. But at the same time, watch as well on the other side what could be done, you know, because things are moving and again, you cannot fight against something.
Yeah, I love that idea of encouraging people basically to experiment, you know, to test and just, you know, get outside of the norm a little bit, even if it's, you know, a very stable, you know, sector or industry or company or whatever, but still encouraging people to always, you know, test something new, try something new, see, you know, what works, what doesn't work, and make that part of their sort of like daily business as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is very interesting. So,
and really the fun side is important as well. Huh? I mean, really, for me, one of the big cultural gap is and that's really a gap after UK or Ireland. And I think that if there's something that I learned in Ireland is really professional don't mean to be boring. Huh? And I mean, take the fun where is it, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And I mean, the Irish always said it's grant. So this word is fantastic because it means nothing. It means yes, no, maybe, I don't know. But okay, we have problems. If we are success, let's celebrate, let's be fun. I mean, it's not because our industry is electrical, digital, or IT that we need to be old school. I mean, let's take the fun where is it, you know?
I love that, you know, professional doesn't mean boring. It doesn't mean be boring. I love that, you know, it has a lot of aspects behind it, you know, taking yourself not too serious and, you know, understanding that literally anything can be fun if it's done in the right way, looked at in the right way. And I love that. Really, really cool inputs. Thank you so much, Vincent, for sharing all these insights and your journey and the story behind it. We're going to link below this video to the company page as well, also to your LinkedIn profile, so people can also follow what you're up to and some of the exciting things that you guys are doing, and of course also connect with you. So Vincent, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks a lot.